So like, here's the thing, right? I was shuffling the cards and doing a little meditating on the cards, and I feel like you've got a very deep bond with someone who is, I want to say, comes across as being very mature. They come across as like they got it all together, nothing bothers them, they can't be affected. But it's like they hide their emotions, they hide their feelings. Okay, but they definitely have this love bomb energy. Okay, love bomb, passion bomb, whatever it is. So I feel like this is someone who leans quite avoidant in this relationship, but there is an attachment. There's a really strong bond. It's really difficult to let go of this person. So we're going to get into this reading and try to figure out what the heck is going on here. Maybe some advice, what you need to do, your guidance, what have you. So smash that like button, do subscribe, and let's get into this.
I just can't let you go. Lord knows that I've tried to. You said I was the only one. No one likes being lied to.
All right, Virgo, let's get into this, right? So definitely someone I feel like came into your life maybe in the past, or you knew them in the past. This could have been your father, non-emotional, whomever it was, maybe a parent, a parental figure. It could be anybody from your past, okay? So someone who I just feel like they weren't big on sharing the emotions. Maybe you had to do a little mind reading, or had to try to guess, or try to figure out, like, what are they feeling? And anytime they shared anything with you, okay, there was just always this potential for there to be more, but never really going any deeper. Very surface, okay? Always a potential. All right, but mostly it may be a romantic partnership, okay? So let's take a look at, I want to see your, like, what's going on. Okay, right now, so yes, this is what I'm saying. There's a very deep bond with this person. Very deep, very difficult to let go. I mean, there is strong love, and I feel like it's on both sides. I feel like it's on both sides between you and this person, okay? Or at least this could be someone that you are not even engaging with right now. Like maybe you guys haven't talked in like years and years and years, and you've already moved on to somebody else. Something occurred with you underneath there, like there was just this very strong, you both chose each other at one point. The love is still there. It could be buried under a lot of anger and frustration and I don't know about hate, but because the opposite of hate would be indifference. I don't think you're really indifferent. I think there might, you and or this person. But whatever the situation is, even if you're currently involved with them right now, I feel like this person looks to you to lead. Whether you should or not, I don't know, but I feel like they look to you to lead. But the challenge is there's this constant cut off. That's the problem. That is the big problem. There is a constant cut off. And I don't necessarily feel like this is a situation where you're the only person that gets cut off from this person. They do it to everybody. Anybody that tries to get close to them, they might even have like this heartbreaker kind of label to them. But it's really not that. It's more like, I don't feel like they take pleasure. They might. It's hard, it's really hard to tell, because sometimes that Five of Swords can be very much like a shutout. And yeah, I'm winning and I'm going to keep winning. Power and control. However, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, it's still a bit of a cutoff. Whether they're happy about it or not, that challenge is still there. And that causes a disruption in this connection, because it feels like somebody's being intentionally mean or abusive or neglectful or is very dismissive of love. Dismissive. And what is love? The emotions, the feelings, the sacrifice, the partnership, the respect, the reciprocity. So that's kind of what I feel like the situation is. But why is this bond so strong? Why is this bond so strong? Like, what drives it? Queen of Pentacles. Wow. Okay, could be you, Capricorn. Could be a Taurus. What drives it? Yeah, this. First of all, in terms of you, I feel like maybe Virgo, you surrender too much to this because you want the love, because you see the bond. And maybe you just keep hoping somewhere along the line this person is going to, like you have time out. You guys don't talk to each other, come back together, and you think maybe this time they'll be different. Or maybe this time they'll be different. Maybe this time they've changed. You keep hoping and checking, keep getting betrayed. But there's a little bit of a conditioning that might be happening here, where now you might be kind of stuck in this situation. Some of you, this could be reversed. For others of you, if it's not happening to you right now, maybe you're just going to be able to relate or come to some kind of understanding about something that you were in before, okay? But what I feel, because, time is fluid, right? This doesn't necessarily mean right now or the present or the past, right? You have to figure that out. But at the end of the day, I feel like what's driving this is when someone is taking something away from a relationship, like removing themselves, the heart grows fonder. And that is what's driving. When someone's disappearing or shutting down, there's this need to fill in this gap. When someone shuts down a relationship to go from being really close and really good, and then boom, shutting it down, that can get you kind of hooked. That can get you kind of stuck, right? Or vice versa. And I feel like the challenge is for this person, whoever you've been dealing with here, to stop running away from the connection. It's weird. They might even be kind of and I was just having this conversation with someone today. This might even be a fearful avoidant energy where they lean more dismissive, okay? Closer. It's fearful avoidant, right? And if you have that, you might understand that, where it's want love and that closeness so much, but have such a fear of rejection and a fear of being vulnerable and losing control, that then they lean towards avoidance. They lean towards running away or shutting the connection down or blaming the other person, or even leaning more towards being dismissive, which is kind of the same thing. Dismissing the whole thing. You might have someone that's in and out of your life. Okay, they want it, then they back out of it, and then they're back in again, and sometimes they might even just stay in it and keep it very surface and deflect all the deep parts. But either way, there's the bond. I don't know so much that the bond is truly love, because love requires vulnerability. I feel like the bond is based around intermittent reinforcement or intermittent conditioning. A little Stockholm syndrome stuff possibly going on, okay? Possibly. I'm not saying it's true. You got the Death card here, right? This whole situation needs to transform. And how some of you might be sitting here how do I get my person to open up? How do I get them to not be afraid? Well, if you're dealing with someone who's got that insecure attachment, even if they're anxiously attached, because sometimes this person might show up very anxiously attached where they're love bombing. That's a sign of anxiety. Okay, love bombing. Gotta keep in touch, but either way, it's some very inconsistent behavior. This person, I feel was a complete dismissive avoidant type. They're not the type to cause a push-pull. They're just not. They're just gone. They don't come in and feed. They give a little love bombing, but they don't, usually they're just gone. But I feel like this is more someone who sits in the FA a little bit, but they lean mostly avoidant when there's closeness. And you might have maybe developed some kind of preoccupied attachment because of their in and out behavior, because you're constantly maybe trying to figure out what's going on. The Death card here, I feel like the message here is to kind of say, you know what, Spirit's kind of coming down, shining the light on this relationship and saying, look, this needs to end or transform. This relationship needs to completely end to stop the cycle, or it needs to transform. It can't stay the way it is. But the bond, I think somewhere, buried underneath all of this craziness, there is a true love bond here. Maybe even a twin flame kind of thing. And I feel like there is something. I feel like there were times where there was vulnerability. And those moments they were fleeting. And that might also cause a little bit of like, but like you might say to yourself, but I saw the vulnerability in them in times. I know they're in there. I know the love is there. I know it's there. But then there's the disconnect, or the, too scared to get close, So I feel like the light's shining down on this relationship, saying, yeah, there's a decision here. And I feel like maybe the decision is putting an end to this cycle so that it can transform. Because it won't, as long as the cycle keeps repeating, and the wheel just turns and just keeps going. Let's see what's coming in your near future here with this person. Yeah, look. This is like walking away. I feel like there needs to be this separation. Somebody needs to withdraw or retreat. Doesn't mean forever, but maybe you might need to be the one here to say, you know what? Can't keep going on like this. It's too frustrating. It's too much. Like, waiting for the person to get back to you and they're like gone, or waiting for an answer or waiting for follow through. And there's an inconsistent behavior. And then even worse, wondering if you're being deceived or if you're being betrayed, and then becoming very preoccupied with what maybe they're doing and not focusing on, the little rabbit in your yard. How cute and beautiful. You can't even see that because this person, because of maybe their behavior, you're becoming very preoccupied with what's going on or what's not going on because you're not getting any answers. So I feel like you need to remove yourself, retreat big time. And like even retreat from trying to figure it all out. What's your advice? What's Virgo's advice? Just so you know, here you do have Aries, Gemini, Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn, Scorpio. What's Virgo's advice? You need to start getting excited about your life again. This is not a you problem. Listen, if you've become preoccupied or if you have fearful, anxious attachment or fearful avoidance, or if you're dismissive avoidant, you need to get secure. That's first and foremost for yourself. Usually dismissives or full-on avoidance maybe have an easier time with that, but they're often alone. They're often lonely. I mean, if you're okay with the way your attachment style is, that's fine. Do what you got to do. But I would suggest especially if you're extremely avoidant, stop getting involved with people, because relationships require interaction and vulnerability, unless you just tell them right up front. And no matter where you are in the spectrum of attachment style, if you're not secure and you have something going on, it might be helpful to say, look, this is what I'm dealing with, and figure out what's going on and try to focus on maybe some group therapy or self-help or something. Because relationships that have two people, and usually it is an avoidant and an anxious attachment style that dance together most of the time. So it's really important to get secure. But I also feel like you need your advice here with the Page of Wands. So start getting excited again. About what? About life? What does Virgo need to get excited again about? because you might start getting active as well, or involved in your life activities. I feel like you need to get involved. I know this is going to sound odd, but I feel like maybe helping other people instead of trying to help someone or help people that aren't asking for help. Because you might be that Virgo that's like, you're doing all the heavy lifting, or you have been in this relationship. Just because you have a soul connection with someone, which you do, I do see it, it doesn't mean that you're responsible for fixing them. And it doesn't mean that you're obligated to stay if they're not treating you well. You know what I mean? Because the soul connection, that's for life. That's never going to go away. You know what I'm saying? People separate for years and years and years and years and years and years, and then they come back together when they're in nursing homes or whatever. The soul connection, the soul bond, that doesn't ever disappear. But it can make the relationship, if you stay really hard, if there's a difficulty in trying to manage the relationship when your attachment styles are very different. Even if you're very secure, you may have become very insecure in a relationship with someone who's either in and out of your life, or if you feel like there's push-pull and you feel like it's crazy making, then you're probably dealing with someone who's like an FA. They're kind of juggling here. And I feel like that is what this is. And then the more you press for closeness and things like that, the more they run away. I mean, there's ways to deal with it, sure, if you really feel like you have to. But if you don't have to, and you just want to, I feel like there's ways to manage it. But a lot of people, the other person has to be willing. That's what I'm saying. Like, the other person has to be willing to say, yeah, I have this attachment style. Let's work on this together to try to help each other and get some guidance. But if the other person, even if you tell them and they're not willing to work on it, and you're doing all the heavy lifting, then you need to go. You need to get out of that. You can't fix it if they're not seeing it and they don't think there's a problem. Let's take a look at them. Yeah. So listen, here's the thing, right? With this person, every time you leave the relationship, they return. And they come back really fast because they don't want to lose you. That's for sure. That's the truth. They don't. And they will come back in the way they began before with, the bomb scenario. Lots of like missiles going through the air. Hey, where are you going? Where are you going? Where are you going? They will constantly do that. But that doesn't mean, look, even you've got another ace. It's the Ace of Swords. We got to talk. This is communication. Find reasons to talk to you. They'll come in with like, oh, I cut myself. Oh, I hurt myself. Or, whatever. It'll be all kinds of excuses to test you. Make sure you're still there. Even if you leave, just to gauge, that's not fair to you. That's not fair to you. That, in my opinion, I don't think that's fair. Maybe you don't either. This person is never going to go away. It's like I said, this strong soul connection will last a lifetime, no matter what direction you go. You're never going to have to worry about, if like you have a fear of abandonment, ask yourself, how many times has this cycle repeated with this person? Even if they were PO'd at you, they still reached out. Even if they went with somebody else, they still reach out. Even if they're being nasty to you, they're still reaching out. When somebody goes with somebody else and they're 100% happy with them, the new person, they don't reach out to the past anymore. Healthy people don't. They just move on with their lives, If they're still reaching out to you, that's their pattern. And that's how you know they're still locked in that. Yeah. What's your hopes and fears? Oh, yeah. Some of you do have an anxious attachment style. Some of you have a lot of fear about constant conflict. Some of you have a fear that this person's going to abandon you, or you have a fear that you're not going to overcome your own attachment style, but you will. These attachment styles can be healed. Absolutely. You can become secure again. But when you're in the midst of the battle zone and the war here, of the in and out and the push-pull and the crazy making, you're not going to heal until you, I just don't, if you're on the front lines in the middle of a battle, it's really, really hard to heal. And almost impossible in the middle of a battle. You have to get away from it. Yeah, so you do have some anxiety, I see, when it comes to this relationship. On a scale of 1 to 10, I don't know where you lay, maybe a 9. But there is a fear of this even causing extreme panic and stress and maybe a mental breakdown. Or you're feeling that way and you're hoping that it's not going to get to that. Or nightmares or bad dreams, right? Let's take a look and see what the outcome is here if you walk away. Because I actually see, the near future, you're departing. You're going on that journey to find your happiness, your emotional joy and happiness. And that will get rid of the preoccupation. People are like, well, how do I stop thinking about this person or this issue? Well, you have to remove yourself and you have to give yourself time and distract yourself with other things. And that's why I felt like Spirit was trying to tell you, maybe help other people or get involved in other things that keep you busy. It doesn't have to be helping other people, maybe focus on your work, your goals, that helps. Let me see your outcome here. All right, good, jackpot, major change. Let me just tell you, I just feel like whoever your person is, I'm going to tell you that there is definitely not a lack of love. It's just a lack of expression or a lack of seeing it through. There's a deep fear of vulnerability. And the more you push for that, the more they run away. It doesn't mean you need to be cold, and stifle yourself to keep them. You shouldn't. You shouldn't at all. But I don't think this person does not love you. I think maybe they get angry when you walk away. They try to get you back. I think they might even be on more of the anxious side where they start blaming you or telling you it's your fault. There's a lot going on, but buried underneath, whenever you and your person connected, there really was, it was meant to be. Like the connection, the coming together, the meeting. It was and they know it too. But it's just this managing of this relationship is very different. So there will be major change. And because this is your reading, it's going to be in your benefit. It's going to be a benefit to you, this major shift. You're going to get lucky out of this situation. Will there be somebody else? Possibly. But there definitely won't be if you're staying stuck in this and you're too focused on this relationship. It's not doing you any good. You could be looking to see, are they seeing somebody else? Trying to find out who it is the person they're with. Some of you have already moved on. I get it. This probably isn't for you, but maybe come back to it in case things change again. But I do see there will be a turning point. It's not going to stay like this forever. It's not. If you want to get a reading with me to see if this person is going to make any major changes, if you say to them, look, this is what's going on with me, and I believe that this is what's going on with you, and I believe that this is why we can't connect. And I cannot stay in a place, in a relationship with another human being where there's so much disconnect. So if you want to work on this together with me, let's give it a shot, because otherwise I got to put my boundaries up and I got to move on. Or if you already had that conversation and they say yes, but then they back out of it again, then you just got to let go. So we'll find out. You can do a personal reading with me to see if after you walk away, what the potential turnaround point will be for this connection. It might be like you move on and meet somebody else. Sure. but we can find that out. I'm running a special right now on my personal private phone call readings. Everything is 50% off, Virgo. So you can get 50% off a predicted tarot reading call, only $40 for a 30-minute reading. You can do text readings. You can do a spiritual empowerment reading. But the 50% off ones are definitely the best by 1 hour for $99. Just know my prices have been high, but with the way the economy's been, I'm dropping my prices to be able to accommodate everybody. So there's a link in the description box below this video. Go check that out. Click that link and it'll bring you here to my website. You can book immediately. You can get your readings with me like the next day. All right, Virgo, let's get some Romance Angels messages. Let's get a message from the Romance Angels. What does Virgo need to know? Let your friends help you. Ask for and accept support from others. That's very crucial because I really do see that you're going to remove yourself, whether it's physically or emotionally detached from this relationship. You're going to need a little help from your friends. And, you know, it doesn't have to just be your friends. It's just asking for help and support from others. And whoever those others are, maybe people who are more knowledgeable than you could go, you could do some self-help. You can go and get some counseling for this. You can reach out to me, your favorite tarot card reader. And I can try and help you with this for sure. Let's see what the Chinese sign is. Showing up here, you and or your person. All right, year of the rabbit, the rat, the dragon, the dog, year of the ox, the rooster, the horse, and the snake. Okay? It could be your sign or your person's sign. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't mean it is not your reading. All right, Virgo. Let's see if there's any other messages here. Just a little extra bonus. Okay, love. Unconditional love, self-love and wholeness, affection, attraction, selflessness. This person, this connection, there is love. However, if you're giving unconditional love to someone because you understand that they've got problems, if they're not willing to fix the problems, you got to stop with this unconditional love. You can love them from a distance. But you have to stop giving chance after chance after chance, because much like a parent with a child, even an unconditional love for a child, once that child gets to be an adult and starts acting out and is disrespectful, the parent has to have a boundary. Absolutely. So, but there is love. But it doesn't feel like it's mature love. It feels like it's immature love. Yeah, look at that. Addiction, codependency. This connection is causing codependency, or it's already in there. Obsession and restraint, possession and control, emotional block. Okay? So there is an energy here. You know, maybe there was heartbreak and pain. Of course, we saw that. Separation and loss, deception and lies, shocking. That's very immature, if you even want to call it love. I feel like you need boundaries. Avoid these conversations or not deal with this person unless they're willing to get the help or willing to work on this with you. If you're willing to work on it yourself. If you don't want to work on your attachment, then and they're not going to work on it, I mean, all y'all just in a toxic relationship at the end of the day. But if you're ready to do the work, because you got to do that first on your end, and get back to being in a secure position. If they're ready to do it too, they got to show up for that. And if they stop showing up, then you know, that's when it's like, all right, what are you doing? This isn't going to work. All right, you've got J showing up so much. Initial J, you have a Z, V, F, T. Let's see, you've got Leo, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Pisces, Cancer. I just heard the name Deb. Dre, like Dr. Dre. DRE, somebody could be a doctor. Devon, Trayvon, Trey. Red, could be a name or a nickname. But I'm getting Jason, but with a Z. Jason. It's weird. Zed. Jet. Edward. Someone works for the Fed. Junior. I'm getting Zeddy. Veronica. They just gave me Veronica. Somebody has a hearing disability. VD. VD. Venereal disease. Robert James. I'm getting Robert James. You have the 7th, the 17th, the 6th, the 16th, the 11th, the 8th, the 9th, the 6th. Did I say that? Okay, somebody's 40. We also have the 10th, right? Your birthday could be somebody, your partner or the person's birthday. We have 69, 96, 86, 66, 81, 87. Someone's born in the 60s. Okay, they're just giving me June. Someone's born in June, September, July, January, August, November, and October birth dates. All right, let's get some charms here. Thank you everyone for posting yesterday. You posted what you felt like the red circle charm was, what it meant to you yesterday. So I read all your comments. Really awesome stuff. I loved what you guys thought of. Okay, so you are showing a black diamond. There is a black diamond here. Black rock. Ooh, black rock. What's going on with that? Black diamond. Is there such a thing as a black diamond? I really don't know. I don't think I've ever seen. Onyx? There could be onyx. Doesn't have to be a diamond. Connection to onyx? You also have a white one. White diamond. Or pearl? The yin and the yang, for sure. Yin and the yang energy here playing out. The yin and the yang. Runner, chaser. Avoidant and anxious. Passive and aggressive. Well, assertive, I should say. Someone's passive. Someone's assertive. Look at this. Alice and the White Rabbit. I was just picking that up. Alice in Wonderland. Something here with the white rabbit. Remember we were talking about the rabbit earlier? What does a white rabbit mean in Alice in Wonderland? Or go ask Alice. I don't know. Stuff's just coming up for me. Somebody could be born in the year of the rabbit also. Or also somebody has blonde hair as well. Or likes to dress up like in cosplay or costumes. Things like that. Okay, anything else for Virgo? And yeah, last but not least, you've got the two swans forming a heart together. There's definitely a love connection here, but it's really messed up. It needs major healing. It does. Maybe it was good in the beginning or something. I don't know. You got to kind of sit down and figure out what happened. Maybe go and write your story. Especially if it's been a long time in this connection. You know, if you want to fix it, right? Others of you, I know, I see you're just like, nah, I'm out. Goodbye. Fine. Do whatever you need to do. I support you either way. All right, Virgo. So I'll be back here tomorrow with your weekend reading. And I think Friday, I'm going to do a you and your zodiac person, you and the other person by their zodiac sign. And Saturday there will be a live Q&A Saturday evening, so watch out for that. All right, you guys, have a great night. Love ya.